welcome to Out of the Gate. It's track announcer Chris Griffin joining you here in the Parks Racing Studio, and I told you I would have this man back. Now a two-time guest on the show. How about that, Bob Hutt? Welcome to the show, Uptown Charlie Brown stud.
It's unbelievable that you asked me back, but it's nice to be here.
The audience gets what they want. They were clamoring for more Bob Hutt here, but we got some selections. We're going to talk about Uptown Charlie Brown stud, talk about a few of your horses as well, and then we're going to have a nice interview with Uriah St. Louis actually later on the show, so we'll take a look at that. Let's get into race number one and take a look at this first race, though. 1 mile is the distance, a 12.5 claiming race in here. You take a look at this field, and again, very familiar runners in this race. You're looking at this field in here. I'll have full scratches and changes coming up for you. But to me, I mean, you know, Holiday Raid, you look at Confirmed Genius Town towards the inside. I think my selection will come up here in just a second, but there we go. The 5 is the top pick, Rosie Holiday. Jim Ryerson's got this horse coming off of that mile effort off the optional 16. I think a little bit tougher. A GNC was in there, now a slight drop in class down to the 12.5. I like the class drop. I think class drops are usually a good handicapping tool. What do you think of class drops from a handicapping angle?
I think that's fantastic. I really, really do. I learned that a long time ago.
Talking about Uptown Charlie Brown stud a little bit, and we didn't bring Bob up here to handicap. He might give us a few selections a little bit later on.
Don't forget the Christmas present I gave.
Uptown, you did a couple weeks ago on Customer Appreciation Day. You did. You gave out that easy winner. What was it? 4 to 5?
It might have been 1 to 9. I'm not sure.
That's all right.
No,
Money's money.
It won.
But let's talk about Uptown Charlie Brown stud a little bit and the program that you've created, and just briefly talk about your ownership group, your owners, and basically where you guys have come now to this year in 2021 and looking forward to 2022.
Yep. Well, we started in 1999 when my late best friend, Trainer Uriah, said, Bob, why don't you start a racing partnership for the average fan? And I said, nah, I don't really want to do it, but luckily, he dragged me in, and we started out with 1 or 2 horses and 10 partners, and today we're 100 horses and 500 partners. Yeah. And it just keeps getting larger, and it's mostly word of mouth. And
we found some good stats for you. Came from a really good statistician, actually, that was sending me some of these figures. But top 1% in owner standings for 5 straight years. What does that mean to you guys?
It means that we've done things right, and it all starts with our trainer, Ed Coletti Jr., who has done a fantastic job. When he first started in the business, he learned the hard way from his father, who used to send him 3-legged horses, but now Eddie has a full 40-horse barn, and he's been in the top 2% of trainers in the United States. He's a very humble man, and really, he just does right by us. But for 5 straight years, there are like 20, 25,000 owners every year, and we've been like in under 200, in other words, top 200.
And we could kind of group these next two together, but 18% winners and 14% stakes runners, so it's a really nice breeding program for Pennsylvania breds, but you've had a nice win rate. It's tough to win in general, but to do it at 18% for an ownership group, it's a really good thing.
It really is. I learned a long time ago, many, many years, there's 1 million ways to lose a race and only 1 way to win. And I think we've gone over 1 million ways to lose, but we've had 18% winners. We average about $7,000 earnings per start, which is a fantastic figure. And the nice thing is, with all our soon-to-be 2-year-olds on January 1st, which ones are going to be the stake horses? I mean, our partners have come to expect it. They think that's the norm, but we've been very blessed and very lucky.
We're going to talk about those 2-year-olds here in just a moment. Let's take a quick commercial break, talk about the new Parks Racing mobile app, where you can fire away and bet on some of these horses right here at Parks.
Now available, an enhanced Parks Racing mobile app. The improved Parks mobile app will feature biometric login through fingerprint or face ID. View wagering information before building your wager. Customizable viewing options. Hands betting and transaction history. Helpful tips. And much more. The enhanced Parks mobile app, now available.
Back with my man Bob Hutt. He has not kicked me out of the studio yet to host the show by himself. He's been clamoring to do it. He wants to take over the...
Well,
right?
we're having fun. We're having fun.
Race number 3, 6.5 furlong, 7,500 non-winners at 2 in here. Going to go to J Delta with the top selection. You take a look at this horse in here, Lulander Jr. These are some of those types where I just want to take the new face. A 3-year-old filly that I think she's going to handle the dirt quite nicely. Horse is coming off of 2 synthetic efforts, but these dialed ins, I like them on the main track, so I'll give this one a shot. Hopefully we get that 3-1. I think that's probably around the right price there. We'll see if Lulander Jr. can get to the winner's circle there with a Luis Acasio. But let's talk about that 2-year-old, Uptowncharlybrown, and the bloodlines are absolutely there. Usually later developing, but this horse has gone to the racetrack and has had some nice performances so far. But where is Uptowncharlybrown, and kind of what are the expectations for you in the barn?
Uptowncharlybrown is a full brother to 2 of our stake horses, Uptowncharlybrown and also Midnight Charlie. And Ed Coletti Jr. is very, very high on this 2-year-old, soon to be a 3-year-old. And we think enough of him that we're probably going to nominate him to the Triple Crown. And we'll see where we go. Yeah,
it's interesting when you take a look at these types of horses. Usually this family, like you said, later developing. He made a nice move in this race, though. He gets to the lead. Your owners are probably, grabbing your shoulder a little bit and rooting you on. But there's promising signs here in this debut, or in this run. Alivari obviously is going to draw away and win this race. But what do you think of this effort, and how often do you go back and look at these replays?
We usually go back and watch the replays maybe 10, 15 times immediately after the race, looking. Uptowncharlybrown is relatively green, and no matter what the talent level of a horse, they have to put the mental aspect together too. And that family, usually you don't see anything until they're 3. And the fact that he's even running now says a lot. The 2-year-old year is about learning what it is to be a racehorse, and then the 3-year-old year is where you can earn the most money in your career. And we have very, very high hopes for Uptowncharlybrown, not Noir.
Race number 5, we're taking a look at today's 5th race, and my top selection is going to be the winner, number 7, Stand By You. I'll go with the 7 on top. Blinkers do go on. Who do you like in this race, race number 5?
I don't know why, but for some reason I like number 2, Rolls Royce Joyce, trained by Ed Coletti and ridden by young Anthony Nunez, all in the family. Rolls Royce Joyce is owned by Uptowncharlybrown stud, and she is a dead closer, which means she's at the mercy of the pace. If they go fast today, she'll be the widest horse. That's what she prefers. That's her idiosyncrasy, and she'll run them all down.
6 second-place finishes, 3 thirds, but maybe she gets to the winner's circle here with Bob Hutt. You'll see him in the winner's circle, of course, with his group here, if Rolls Royce Joyce gets to the winner's circle. Hey, we caught up with another guy that was in the winner's circle in the Queens County, actually, there with Forewarned. Uriah St. Louis. He always does it at a big price, it seems like, in these route races. Did it at 42-1. We got a chance to catch up with Uriah and his barn. Here's that interview. Well, we spent some time with Uriah St. Louis.
Uriah St. Louis and Trimbrooke Stables has been a successful barn at Parks Racing.
I was born in Trinidad and my wife was born in Brooklyn, and that's how we end up at Trimbrooke Stable.
Growing up in Trinidad, trainer Uriah St. Louis wasn't born into racing, but he fell in love with horse racing at a very early age.
I was in Trinidad, I was about 5 years of age, and my sister took me to the racetrack. And I fell in love with a gray horse, and then I started following horses. And every chance I got, I went to the racetrack. And then I moved to the United States in 1973. And when I moved to the United States in 73, I went to junior high school in Brooklyn. I moved to Brooklyn. I went to junior high school in Brooklyn. Then I went to East New York Vocational Technical High School. I wanted to become a pilot. It was an aviation school. It was about a mile and a half from Aqueduct. And we used to, every evening, I would go to Aqueduct and we would bet the daily double. I used to run track for the school, so we would run over to Aqueduct, make a daily double bet, and then we run back to the school.
Uriah found himself far away from not only Trinidad, but also Brooklyn, where he learned about training horses.
Well, I wanted to be a trainer, so a guy told me he had a friend in Oklahoma who could teach me. And I went to Oklahoma, and the guy's name was Robert Hayes. Robert Hayes taught me everything that I know. And I credit everything to Robert Hayes. I left New York City. Every night and day, everything is going, and I moved to Oklahoma, and it's different. I mean, 7 o'clock at night, back then, I don't know about now, but everything is closed up. And we got accustomed to it, and we stayed there. We had a farm, and we lived there, and he taught me everything every day. And then after about 2 years, I decided I moved back to the East Coast. He showed me how to put on bandages, how to put on saddle. He showed me everything because I didn't know nothing. And he showed me how to take care of a horse. Then he started telling me the different parts of a horse, and I just kept taking it in because it was easy to take in. Then I loved it, so I wanted to do it.
The journey has been worth it, as Uriah St. Louis found Grade 1 glory with Discreet Lover.
Discreet Lover, we knew he was a decent horse when we took him to Saratoga as a baby. He finished 5th against a nice group of maiden special. He got beaten to about 2 3/4 lengths. At that time, Parks used to have what they call, in the fall, they used to have like a racing festival where they double the purses. He won that race by 8 lengths. And then he had some setbacks, and we had to wait a little bit. And then as a 3-year-old, we decided it had a race at Parks here called the Parks Derby back in May. And we ran him, and he had the least experience in the race. First time going 2 turns, but he finished 2nd. And I said, man, this horse looks like he was going to run all day. And we just started picking spots, and the older you get, the better you get. A lot of people say I put them in the wrong places, but I owned all of them, so I could do whatever I want. If I don't make no money, I don't make no money. But most of the time, when we put them, we usually think we have a chance to win.
Uriah's story is a family story, and Trinbrook Stables, Inc. is a true family operation.
It's 100%. The only thing other than my kids and my wife is my horses. And my son is with me now. He's my assistant. My wife is there every time she gets a chance. My daughter now, she moved on to Madison Square Garden she's working for now. But before that, everybody will be there every day. My wife is here every day when she's not working. She's a registered nurse. My son is here 7 days a week with me. And I have like Barbara, who's been with me for like 35, 40 years, and her husband. And we work hard every day. 7 days a week, we work hard.
Asked Uriah if he ever won a Triple Crown race. Would there be a bigger party in Brooklyn, New York, or Trinidad?
Brooklyn. Because most of my family is in Brooklyn, so they will be there celebrating, and a lot of them will come to the races if we win that particular race. It's a long shot, but you have to dream.
Back here on Out of the Gate with Bob Hutt. Let's talk about For the Dreamers a little bit more precocious than Downtown Charlie Brown. They're not too similar as far as 2-year-olds are concerned, but For the Dreamers, we're going to take a look at this replay in here. Talk about this 2-year-old and kind of what the hopes are for him moving forward.
Well, first, they got to come out of the gate, but there they are. And For the Dreamers is a very precocious 2-year-old. We gelded him early on, not for any other reason than we believe in gelding, and he's rateable. He came to hand very, very well. He's a big boy. John Service said to me in the paddock when he first laid eyes on him, Bob, that's a 3-year-old. I'm going to check the microchip. And I told him it was a 4-year-old, and he ran the way he was supposed to run. And you'll see he's pulling away with authority. In his first race, he sort of went to sleep on his own, which 2-year-olds are known to do. And he finished 2nd to Dance Code, who went to Saratoga and finished 3rd in a Grade 3 stake. And For the Dreamers will be nominated to the Triple Crown. And he's got Uptown Charlie Brown on the dam side. The sire there was Talon Search. And Uptown Charlie Brown ran into Belmont, had a troubled trip, finished 5th. So we have very high hopes, and I just went last week to Ocala to look at him, and he's really filled out beautifully, and he'll be back here probably about March.
Great to hear. This man is great as well. He wears many hats. What else do you do?
I'm not telling, but I'm a producer in Back to the Future, the musical.
Yes, producer in Back to the Future, the musical. I think that's awesome. That's another great hat.
Well,
give me one selection before we get out of here, and then I'm going to go watch the musical. Go.
In the 9th race, my best pick of the day is Breezy Gus, number 3, ridden by Anthony Nunez, who rides for us. He's a very strong finisher, and if he doesn't get into a ding-dong speed duel, I think he'll be pulling away by many in the stretch. And his trainer, Danny Velasquez, is on fire.
Yep.
38% in the last 14 days, 27% in the last 30 days. And Anthony and Dan have a 33% record together. That's my pick.
Bob Hutt, Chris Griffin, there's the website right there. Check them out. If you bet the over, they won. We were close, Bob. We were close to 15 minutes. Thanks again for joining us here on Out of the Gate. Here we got some great racing action coming up to you right here from Parks.
Thank you.